Welcome to this new how-to. In this how-to, we're gonna look at how you can use the LNAV functionality from the ATR 42600, but it should also work for the 72600. We're ready to take off from Rotterdam The Hague Airport, so let's go inside. So first of all, you need to understand that LNAV really depends on the navigation and flight plan which is configured in the aircraft, right? And to do that, what I did is I created a flight plan using SimBrief, and then I pressed the import OFP, right? So imported the flight plan. Then I used the set the flight plan, and using the set flight plan, you will make sure that this nice system over here is programmed using the flight you, I would say, are planned to fly. If you don't do this, LNAV won't work. So if you've got issues, the first thing you need to check is if the flight plan is correctly set up here. If that's not the case, then you likely need to go back to the electronic flight plan over here and press the import OFP and then use the set flight plan option. So if you press the import OFP, you will see the departure airport as well as the destination airport, as well as the meter data from the different airports, as well as some information about the payload as well as the view. If for some reason, by the way, you get an error, then press the login button and make sure that you correctly put in the pilot ID from SimBrief, because else that won't work. Now, the next thing which you need to make sure is if you want to use the LNAV functionality, and I'm searching for it, here it is. So it might be a little bit difficult to see, so let me zoom in a bit further. You have this nice button which says nav source. That one needs to be set to FM, right? So the left FM, not the right FM, because this is IS1 and nav source 1, and this is nav source 2. You can see that you also have one on the other end, right? Which is called nav source 2, which is for the co-pilot. So make sure that the one from the pilot is set to nav source 1 and the one from the co-pilot set to nav source 2. So with that, I would say we're almost ready for takeoff. What I always do is I will make sure that the, I would say, direction of this blue angle, which you see over here, which is the heading mode, is set to, let's say, approximately this, I would say, pink line. Let me zoom in again. To this line, because this line is the direction which we want to fly. And if you want to see that easier, you can open the VFR map, because the VFR map will show you how you need to fly. So first we're gonna go straight out, then we're gonna make a right turn, and then another right turn, and then we will follow the path. This is how the VFR shows, this is how the map shows. I would say I've got different, I would say, behavior seen with this. Sometimes it draws correctly, but if you want to see it correctly, then you can also open the VFR map to make sure that it's, say, 100% set correctly. So for now we will close it. And what we will do is, this is runway, right? So we make sure that the blue angle is set to the direction, which is the case. And the first beacon we're gonna visit is FMS 1, which is Woody, which is this bearing 182, and then it's 33 nautical miles from our location. So you can see that our bearing currently is set to 55, right, which is the wrong direction. But for now we will leave it, and I will show you how you can change it in a few minutes. So everything is ready again, right? So let's reset the views, and then let's increase throttle and remove the parking brake, and let's see if we can take off. Pushed it too fast, likely. So I'm gonna ignore the error for now. Normally you shouldn't ignore the error, right? If you're a normal pilot. And as you can see, it's a little bit, I would say, stuttering. That's due to the fact that I'm not sure it's always happened at Rotterdam The Hague Airport. I think it's due to the high amount of point of interest over there and the high level of detail. So this done, right? So gears up. And now what will happen is if we go to the autopilot, which is over here, we can switch on the autopilot by pressing the AP button. That will show you green angles at both angles. And then you can press the heading option. As mentioned, the heading option is to make sure that we're flying into this direction, which means 55 degrees. So we're not going to follow this one yet, right? I will do that, but in a few seconds. In addition to that, what I will do is I will set up the altitude, because I didn't do that, I would say, before taking off, which I should have done, of course, because that's to make sure that we're climbing correctly. So let's see, it's 2200, which is fine. Then we're going to activate IS hold as well as the VNAV functionality. And then we're going to reduce the speed and also do the flaps up. And that's to prevent that we're going into overspeed mode, which you just heard. That was the overspeed sound, right? Which we don't want to have. You can see that altitude has been set, but for some reason the VNAV not yet. So let's see if we can press it again. In some cases it doesn't work. If it doesn't work, then you need to say make sure that you're having set up everything correctly, which I likely didn't do, of course. So we can reduce the speed a little bit further, because you can see that we're coming into the danger zone. Press the VNAV again, right? So it says now select LNAV. So it warns us, right? That's something different. So it says, hey, you need to use LNAV before you can use the VNAV. So what we're gonna try to do is press the LNAV option, which you can find over here, which is navigation mode. In some cases, it will work, right? But if it doesn't work, what you need to make sure is that you're flying close enough to this nice pink line. Because if it doesn't, say if you didn't configure the flight plan or you're too far away from this pink line, it might be that the LNAV doesn't pick up the, the way it needs to fly, right? The flight direction. And then you're getting into weird stuff. So it's, to be honest, it's not that hard, but there are some prerequisites which you need to make sure that which are in place, else it doesn't work. And now likely if we activate VNAV, you can also see that it's now activating the VNAV, right? So we're almost at the altitude, but we're going to increase the altitude because we need to fly higher. I think it was 13,000 feet. So let's have a closer look. We're now at 4,600. So we're going to increase this. So you can also press the option, right? Or you can use a scroll wheel or press the left mouse button, which will make sure that this value will increase. As you can see, the aircraft continues turning, right? So we're not touching anything. If I would say point a camera on my controls, then you won't see that I won't push anything here. I am only setting the altitude over here, which is, let's say, important because we need to make sure that we're following the direction of the flight controller. Let's see where we are. 124. 25, 6, 7, 8, 9, likely. 130, that's okay. So, as you can see, the aircraft is still, say, decreasing its speed, right? Because this pink angle shows the target speed which it needs to match, which is roughly 170 knots. But it's still, as I would say, climbing a bit, as you can see. And we're almost at the pink line. So what happens is once we are at the pink line, you'll see that the aircraft will start turning left again and will follow that line until it hits, or until we're, I would say, arriving at the next waypoint, and then it will start changing those options. The cool thing about this is if we look at this panel, you can also see that we're coming closer by because this arrow will come closer by in this area, right? So at one point, it should be somewhere in the middle. And you can also see that we're, let's say, going correctly because we're, I'd say, the distance to the beacon is descending, which is good. In this case, you can also see that we're now meeting the pre-configured value of the speed, so 170 knots, which is also cool. And we're still climbing, not that fast, but still going cool. Now, how to see if LNAV, let's say, is activated? That's relatively easy, right? You can see this nice system over here, which indicates, okay, hey, this is the LNAV, where this one is the VNAV. So those are, I would say, really useful items which you can always validate to make sure that both LNAV and VNAV are activated. In this case, for the ATR, you need to activate LNAV before you can activate VNAV. You quickly saw it, right? When trying to activate LNAV, or VNAV, sorry, it mentioned, hey, you need to activate LNAV before you can activate VNAV. So keep that in mind, that it won't work if LNAV is switched off. AP, autopilot, FD, flight director, both were turned on, right? Which is good. And we're slowly climbing, right? That's good. You can also see that we're, let's say, pretty close to the pink line now. And you can see that the aircraft already starts to make adjustments, right? So we're starting to decrease the angle to the right, right? So we're not going straight to the line, but we're making slow directions or corrections to the left angle until we're at that pink line. And that will likely, I would say, make the turn to the left a little bit harder. And that's all, I would say, without touching anything, right? Because it's using the autopilot. So now we're coming closer to that pink line. We're almost at the end of this video, right? Because some people ask, hey, can you show us how the LNAV, right, the lateral navigation works? Which simply means that it's using, say, the flight plan, which we did set up here, as source to fly the aircraft automatically. And then I would say you can get a cup of coffee, of course. But keep in mind that you always need to stay pretty close to your system, because you always need to make or be able to make some corrections where needed, right? Because some things can go wrong as with real aircrafts. As you can see, the aircraft will start turning now a little bit further. Still not that, say, that hard compared to, say, what it is. This pink line is almost in line with the other two lines, which is good. And then at one point, and we'll see that we're going straight to the beacon, straight to the next waypoint, which is roughly 25 nautical miles further, and then the aircraft will do the rest for you. So with that, we're at the end of this video, where we looked at how to take off, but also how to activate the autopilot, activate the LNAV, and as a bonus, we also looked at how to activate the VNAV, which has as prerequisite that you activate the LNAV functionality. So VNAV, vertical navigation, LNAV, lateral navigation, and the IS, that's the indicated airspeed, right? That's the speed which we want to fly, and that's being caused by the fact that we enabled this button over here. Again, here ends this video. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, then consider to use the like button. If you got questions or comments, then feel free to post them in the comment box below. And if you want to stay up to date about new videos I'm posting, then make sure that you're subscribing to my channel. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.